Hello, I'm John McBride. We're in Blackbird studio in Nashville, Tennessee. We're in the E room today. I'm with Javonnii Curry, one of our grads from the Blackbird Academy, who is kicking ass and taking names. He's that kind of guy. He's doing a great job. But we wanted to come in, have a little conversation, talk about the school, talk about life, talk about what's happening and going on. Javonnii, how long ago did you graduate?
Well, I did both programs. I graduated March 2017.
All right. And prior to coming to the Blackbird Academy, give me a little history on yourself.
Just a quick synopsis. I was born in Jacksonville, raised in Atlanta. I did the Army for 8 years.
Yeah.
I was a deep sea diver, toured all over the world. Our main job was salvaging. Later half of that was looking for POWs, MIA.
Wow.
For like World War II, Vietnam. Got to 8-year mark and I was like, I got to give music a try. If I don't, I'm going to end up doing 20 years in the service. So I got out, came to Nashville, Tennessee. I specifically chose Blackbird because I knew that it was going to provide, some of the best quality education in terms of audio. And that was my main reason, determining factor of choosing Blackbird. And it paid off, really.
Well, good,
Yeah.
good. So you graduated a year and a half ago, and now what's happened since?
I did the studio program, I did the live program, just learned so much. Everything really started settling in by the time I got to the live program. I was like, okay, an XLR, I know what that is now. Mic patterns, like it just all kind of started making sense.
Sure.
And then getting my hands on digital boards that, really started opening up my mind in terms of fundamentals, sticking to the fundamentals for each board, which helped me. But Claire Global offered me a job coming out of live sound, and I accepted it. They had me running rehearsals for all the local bands here in Nashville, and I did that for about a year and a half. It was almost 6-7 days a week.
Oh,
bands, CMA Fest will come through, and it's like 2 or 3 bands a day.
Sure.
And I just started getting my chops up from there. Just using my ears, getting used to hearing a kick drum in a room and just everything, snare being louder than the vocal, but it really earned my chops. And I started going on the road from there in between time and just running monitors on the fly for festivals, like showing up to a monitor board and getting
10
5
minutes later, you have to have things going.
Yeah,
Oh,
getting 5 mixes up in a heartbeat.
He thought deep sea diving was hard, but you know what? No, I'm kidding. Oh man. Well, that's a great way to learn. I mean, one thing I love about our programs are you get your hands on the gear, because I feel like the absolute best way to learn is to do it. And yes, you have setbacks or failures or some tense, it's hard sometimes, but man, you learn the fastest that way. You really do.
I do. I think that's what I appreciate about Blackbird Academy was that whatever type of learner you are, ranging from audio to visual to hands-on, like you really, caters to all those type of learners.
We have an incredible curriculum with the school where we know what we're going to focus on, but it's not like traditional sit in a classroom and take notes for 6 months and then, maybe you'll get to touch a piece of gear or go do something. But no, we really like to put people in the hot seat and not only do you figure out, yes, this is what I want to do the rest of my life, but if you figure out this isn't for me, it doesn't take 4 years to figure that out.
Yeah.
It's great. We have a pretty straight to the point type program, and a bunch of people are working, and I'm very, very proud of that fact. Getting people starting off on a career and keeping the bar high about the quality. That's so important. Music is emotional. That's why I think we're attracted to it. And the higher the quality, the more emotional it becomes. is true. Who you been working with lately?
Well, this year I've been working with Carly Pierce.
Yep.
They hired me the beginning of 2018. They said, hey, we have 3 major tours this year. We need a front of house guy, we need a production manager. And I said yes. And you know, it was like a sink or swim moment for me, I feel like, because I'd never been in arenas. They said they were going in stadiums, we're doing amphitheaters, and I was like, man, I've been in this rehearsal room for a year and a half.
Yeah.
But I said yes, and man, it was such a huge learning curve for me.
Yes.
And like I said, I've always, like every show that we've done this year I've always thought about the moments here at the Academy and the moments at those rehearsal rooms. And it was just nice to see how all that knowledge compounded to putting off a good show, making sure that vocal's on top.
Yes.
You know, making sure, you know, things are patched correctly. There's no issues. And if there is an issue, troubleshooting it properly. Like
dealing with it, yes.
And man, I've just learned so much this year, you know.
I'm so glad.
Having 30 minutes to line check, sound check as an opening act was probably one of the most, you know, crucial moments of this entire year, was being able to do my job in such a compounded small amount of time.
I always tell whoever's babysitting in front of the house, I tell them, give me 3 songs, we'll have it down.
Yeah.
Oh man, well that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you are experiencing so many different areas of live audio, man, because some arenas are great, some suck.
Yeah.
Stadiums are generally not too bad because you're outdoors and you don't have to worry about as many reflections. Clubs, theaters, you know, it's all different. But when you have the foundation you have, I think that it's obvious what needs to happen, and that's what you try to make happen. Do you enjoy mixing? Do you enjoy the production management side of the world, or what trips your trigger the most?
I have to say it has to be the mixing.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Well, you're a member of the band.
Yeah.
You know, you're helping fulfill their vision.
Mm-hmm.
And creatively, that gives you a charge that is fantastic. You prefer house over monitors?
I do prefer front of house over monitors. But like you said, it's just being able to translate that record album, not all of it, obviously. I always think of it as a movie. Like, people go and watch a movie and it has a book written to it, but you're not going to get the entire book at the movie.
Right.
So you just get the entertainment. And then if people really want to dig in and hear the record, go back home and, you know, you hear the record. And that's where you're going to get the meat, you know, everything else, all the fine details.
Acts do so many things in the studio that are almost impossible to reproduce live, you know. They've got this perfect environment in which to record.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, you'll bring in a string session on a record, and you can't carry 35 players on the road. It's just too expensive, you know. So the keyboard player figures out string patches that sound good, and you still give the people what they want. Is Carly the type of artist who wants her live show to sound like a record? Or
I feel like she wants it to sound true to country music, very authentic, live vocal, very country. I don't think, she doesn't put pressure on me in terms of making it sound exactly like the record.
Right.
So I really appreciate that, and I think it's one of those gigs that if I'm going to mix country music, let's mix country music.
Yeah.
I don't want to mix tracks, or like we have banjo, dobro, mando on the stage, and to me that's mixing country music. Like when you have those elements and it's not in a track, it's not. So I really appreciate that, and you know, within the last few years, I've gained a huge appreciation for country music.
Yeah. Oh, there's art to that.
Yeah.
I grew up on rock and roll. That's all I ever listened to was rock. Country was a bunch of one-tooth people that, you know, were whatever. You know, I mean, the stereotypes are ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I met Martina. She introduced me to the art of country music.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that is the lyrics, the stories that are told in country music are really, they change lives, and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing in rock, too, because Dylan comes along, and his lyrics are second to none, you know, and that's what makes things happen. That's what makes you cry or laugh or get angry or whatever, you know, with the music. I love that. So you don't have lead kick drum, I'm guessing.
So I'll try not to, but I enjoy like solid foundation of drums. Yeah.
You have a favorite console? Do you get to mix on analog desks very often? Or?
Yes. Currently, we don't travel with a front of house board.
Okay.
So I'm always
du jour,
like console, roulette, I call it.
Yes.
Whatever the house has, that's what I'm working on. So it ranges from the analog boards to all the digital consoles on the market. X32.
There's a lot.
Digico, Soundcraft,
Sure.
Allen and Heath.
Yeah.
And I think what brings back every time I jump on those consoles is like fundamentals.
Signal flow,
audio path.
Yes.
And that's really saves me time.
Gain structure.
Yep.
These things that are really important to getting it together. I love that.
You have to have a great understanding of signal flow to jump on any of these digital boards, because right now all these digital consoles are like all these digital consoles are like DAWs, like Ableton, Pro Tools, all these type of DAWs, but it's a hardware.
Yes.
And they all have different I/O patching.
Sure.
Effects. Everything's different a little bit, but they all do the same thing. So once I've kind of understood it, I got that picture in my mind, like, oh, these are just like DAWs. Like, now I can kind of explore these different elements and how they work. But
sure. What plugins are available?
I would have to say my favorite console, though, is by far is the Yamaha PM10.
Yeah, that's a great disc.
I got to mix on that for as an opening act for Luke Bryan, and Frank let me mix on his board the entire tour, and I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
And he showed me a lot, and I think that's what I really appreciate over this year too, is all these major acts, Blake Shelton, Rascal Flatts, and Luke Bryan, all these front of house guys really took me in and showed me their ways, showed me how I could get better. And I sat behind them every single show.
Right.
And I watched them move, I watched them mix, I listened to them, I asked questions, and I think that's what in order to get ahead of the curve and try to be the best you can be, just constantly sitting behind mentors and trying to learn as much as you can. And I feel like that's, for me, that's the way.
Keep growing.
Yeah, keep growing.
Yeah.
And showing respect out there. These guys have been doing it all their lives. I've only been doing it for less than 3 years.
Yeah.
So obviously, respecting my elders. These guys know what they're doing.
I love that. I do.
Yeah.
That's why I carry young people with me on the road so they can do all that digital patching.
Yeah.
No, I still love an analog desk and still mix on one most of the time. But the PM10, I've always said, is the least painful digital experience I've ever had. When you commented about the respect factor and everything else, at the end of the day, people want to work with people they want to be around. Attitude is 99% of the gig. This is the first thing students are told and the last thing students are told. Your ability to work with other people is very important, and I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if it's audio, lighting, accounting, lawyer, whatever. Those relationships are always going to be important in your life.
And one of the biggest things I feel like I learned from the studio and the live program is mic technique. I feel like that's where the source is at. You capture the source with a microphone. Take that, acoustic to, electric energy, and then back to acoustic later down the line of signal flow. But especially in live sound, where you put on the same show every single day, you want the same inputs every single day. So the mic placement, mic technique has to be somewhat similar every single day. And I think that's one of the biggest things I learned from the program. Just tracking days, like those really stuck with me, because when I'm on the road, that's how I'm micing.
It's a tracking day every day.
Yeah, it's a tracking day every single day.
It is.
And the mic has to stay in the same spot, because you're not going to get the same sound if it doesn't.
we were thinking about developing a plug-in at Blackbird called Mic Modeler or something like that. And whenever you put it on something, if you're not happy, you click it and it goes, move the mic. And that's all the plug-in is, you know.
I really think that
that's important.
It's a very important element of mixing, is knowing that, you know, you don't have to go on the board and EQ when you can just go out there and move that microphone.
Get it right in the first place.
Yeah.
That's
So-
so important. And a singer, when a singer is on that mic, well, we're all pretty happy because, you know, you don't have to worry about gain before feedback. You know, microphones in general, vocal mics especially, have a proximity effect where the closer the singer gets, the bigger, the more low end there is. And, you know, it's powerful and beautiful. And a singer with great mic technique, oh, that's
Especially, you know, the way touring is becoming now with 100-foot catwalks in front of the PA, and then it splits off on left, right wing. Mic placement is everything.
Yes, it is. Javonnii, we're so proud of you and what you're accomplishing, man. You're just the epitome of, I love your career. You're going to make more and more and more money. You're doing what you love. These are the things that matter in life, you know. And I can't thank you enough for coming in today.